All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly SIG Docs meeting. It is October 13th. I am one of your co-chairs, Jim Angel. Nice to meet you all. First off, getting started here, are there any new contributors in the call? Looks like all familiar faces. Well, welcome back, everybody. Moving on to updates and reminders. This week's PR Wrangler is Zach Arnold, also here on the call.
Hello. Sorry.
No, we appreciate Zach stepping in for Raja and a substitution for the PR Wrangler shift, so much appreciated. And next week's PR Wrangler is Karen Bradshaw, KB Hockey, and that is listed there in the agenda. Let me go ahead and throw the link to the agenda in chat for those who don't have it. Moving on to the agenda, Release 120. Is there anyone on the call who wants to give us an update on the status of Release 120?
I'll speak. Status for
okay.
Go ahead, Samtachi. Now you signed up for it.
Okay. Sorry, I was muted. I'm a release docs shadow for the release docs team, and our status is green. We created a PR to merge master into the dev 1.0 branch, and that has been merged. Okay. And an issue we're having with, having arts and hashtags in like PR names or commits also got resolved by a PR to test infra by Nikita. Yeah, I think that's all. And this week, hello, can someone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
So the enhancements have been assigned to different team members, and we'll begin tracking the docs PR this week. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Subtochi. That is really great to hear about the hashtag issue being resolved. So for those who weren't aware, we perform a merge from master onto the development branch for each release cycle. And many years ago, or many moons ago, that was actually done on Kubernetes website repository directly. So that added inherent risk of potentially overwriting that branch, potentially pushing an empty branch, not to mention anyone named Jim Angel who might have done that. And for a security measure to make it so there could be more of a separation of who has controls over what you can do to the main Kubernetes website repository, we created a process where the release team was then opening up in their fork the merge PR and then PRing it in to Kubernetes website. And for the most part, it worked very well. The biggest challenge was if anybody were to merge any other PRs into master before synchronizing the two branches, the actual commit tag in GitHub would say issue number 12345 is getting merged into master. So inherently, there's nothing wrong with that. However, Prow has a rule that would say if there's a commit message that has a hashtag in it, mark it as an invalid commit message because they didn't want it triggering alerts, notifications, and invalid links between different PRs. And that's a great check to have when you're monitoring just Kubernetes website, just the main branch by itself. But when you're talking about using that check against a merge PR, there's a lot of things out of your control there where you can't really define what that commit message is without actually breaking history there. So I'm not aware of what exactly Nikita did to fix that, if it's completely removed or adjusted for that specific use case. But ultimately, that was the issue. It's a valid check. It makes sense, but ultimately, when it's a merge PR, it's a little bit funky. Any questions on that? I think that's a kind of a goofy edge case that hopefully don't come across again.
None from my end.
Sounds good. Moving on, blog update. Is there anyone from the blog team that would like to provide an update? Hearing nobody. I'm going to assume blogs are just rolling along and doing well.
Cool.
All right. Localization and working group update. Would someone like to take that?
So we don't have any upward for this part. We don't have any kind of meetings. But like yesterday, we have some kind of problems with the Slack name. So I bring the Bengali localization group to the correct abbreviations.
Awesome. And what group was that for the Slack names? I think I saw some.
And I just realized that we can do that with Google. So I just renamed one of us Slack for localization group for Bengal because we have kind of invalid abbreviation for the language. It should be EM instead of EE. So I created PR and Bob helped me to merge it.
Gotcha. Now, is it correct in Kubernetes website as well, or is it only in Slack that it was incorrect?
It's only in Slack.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for the update. And I know that I owe the localization group some meetings here shortly, so I'll have that delivered here in the next couple of days or so. And then also, I posted out to the localization channel as well as the docs channel. I copied over the YouTube videos. So we have videos from the first localization meeting for folks who are interested in catching up there. I need to reach out to Contribex and see what's going on with Splane and see if we can't, wake that up. It seems like it has a, it seems like it's been a few months now that it hasn't been running. So we'll see about that and more to come. Cool. Moving on to issues and PR. So I added one here from Zach, and I took a peek at it right before the meeting, and I realized that I was assigned to it, but I don't have context on it, so I don't feel appropriate to make a comment on it. So I don't know, Zach or Tim, the author of it, wants to give us some context on that.
Can you drop a link to it in the chat? Unfortunately, I can't see it in the Google Doc because #finance.
I absolutely can.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Let me see if I can resurrect what I was thinking about last night. Right. Yes. So Tim Bannister made a PR on basically the sitemap from Doxy, just like a standard priority. But then he wanted to also override it and add pages that had a higher priority relative to others, and they seemed like sensible pages. I'm sorry, the sitemap itself got a higher priority for what is Kubernetes, the docs, like Kubernetes /docs, and then /concepts overview. And that seems sensible to me. I have no problem with it. So we just kind of wanted a chair to be aware of this before I went ahead and merged it. And I don't know, Tim, if you wanted to add any additional context, but I was fine with it. I think, just having somebody who will eventually have to possibly talk about it elsewhere outside of us, like when you go talk to important people in Kubernetes, you'd have to know about it.
So I can tell you work in finance, Zach, you're all about, compliance steps, but it's good. We have a generated XML sitemap for the Kubernetes website. We already have that. What this configuration changes is basically the default priority changes to 0.75, and then a few things like the front page gets 1.0 and those other pages get 0.9. You could fiddle with the numbers, but it's essentially saying, if you're a search engine, you might particularly want to watch these pages for update, and you might want to otherwise treat those as things that this site is saying are valuable pages.
Okay, well, anyway, I was planning to merge it, but as long as Jim, you were aware of this, then let's just move on. That's all I needed.
Cool, yeah, and sorry I wasn't paying attention to that one there. It
is okay.
It seems relatively straightforward. Is there any drawbacks to this? It seems trivial. Seems like we could revert it if there's any major disastrous effects or impacts by it.
I mean, I'm mainly an infrastructure person, so I think this is fine. But if anyone's concerned, now's a good time to tell me.
I don't think anyone's concerned, but yeah, cool.
Awesome.
I shall approve and merge now.
Cool. Sounds good to me. I added a LGTM just to put some public on the record. Sounds good. All right. Any other issues or PRs that folks want to bring up or talk about? All right.
Oh, I'm going to bring up a thing which, yeah, I think this is the right point to bring it up. We have a triage process now. You want to talk? Is that okay to talk about now?
Yeah, absolutely.
So all issues coming in are now Prow spots that they haven't been triaged and labels them as needs triage. It's a process copied from the main Kubernetes repo, and that's happening. And you can sort of add other labels like /kind support if it's actually a support query, /triage duplicate if it's duplicate, /triage accepted if it's a valid issue. And that's a thing that I think anyone who's a Kubernetes member can do.
Okay. So basically, if let's say we accepted the triage, then should we put the label of the SIG that responsible for that issue?
So I didn't quite get that, Irvi. What'd you say?
Okay, sorry. So basically, if let's say we already accepted the triage, then should we put a label for the SIG that are responsible for the issues or not?
So if we should put a label for, like, let's say it's SIG architecture, for example, putting those labels on the issues as well?
Yes, I'm asking actually.
Okay. That I'm not aware of. I know that, you know, folks treat it differently. Tim, I think you have the most experience triaging issues. What is your general rule of thumb when it comes to other SIGs involvement?
So I guess my rule of thumb is there's plenty of stuff that doesn't have a SIG, you know, or SIG docs, which I don't think really counts as needing labeling. But if someone reports that the documentation about cluster storage interface, for example, is wrong, I might label that SIG storage. And my intention there, let's say someone comes along and they're from SIG scheduling and they're looking for SIG scheduling issues to work on. I want to make it easy for them to discover that work. So to be clear, it's not about saying no one who's not in this SIG can pick this up, or the chair of this SIG is now responsible for doing the work. It's about saying, here is how to discover work if you wish to contribute your time towards it.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. And then I think I saw an email come out from Bob about the new triage process. Do we have a README or a Markdown doc we could throw in the agenda for just more of a quick overview? And we don't really need that right now, but I think it'd be good for reference. If not, I can poke around as well.
I think you mean a README for how that works?
Just a general description of some of the new changes coming in, whether it's the email that Bob sent out or if there's a README in the community repo somewhere or something we could snag.
There might be something in the Kubernetes repo because it's snarfed from there as a process.
Gotcha. Cool. Let's see. Sounds good. So the next agenda item I took from the previous week. I don't know if we really have much to discuss here, but just bringing up or reiterating the KubeCon talk that is upcoming and some of the folks here on SIG Docs working on it. Whether someone wants to give a status update or ask any questions or talk about any challenges or blockers is up to y'all. And I guess I'll leave it open-ended from there.
I'll come off mute for this. We're doing okay. I think we've basically got round one of the slides up to date, and what we're doing right now is trying to coordinate to do kind of a rehearsal run, see where we invariably have too many slides and are going over time, and then edit down. One thing I'll call out, just because people are here, is Irvi pointed out that we do actually have consensus on 2 times, Tim. Both of them I think are today. So I think we need to decide on that today. Just in case. You're on mute, Tim. You're on mute. I can't hear you, but I'm sure you're being very funny.
Sorry. I thought that was like, those were the first 2 times we have consensus on rather than the only 2 times we have consensus on.
I mean, I'll let you figure it out. It's your doodle, which means you get to decide. It's all you, Tim.
Right. I will, yeah, I know that I need to contribute back, and between us, the 4 of us need to, the 4 of us need to actually pick a time to do that rehearsing and recording.
Yeah, okay. So that's basically where we're at right now.
Awesome. Sounds good. And then the consensus that's needed, that's all handled with y'all. There's no action really needed there. Sounds like Tim's owning that one. Perfect. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Moving on, this is the announcement that we're canceling the November 3rd weekly Kubernetes SIG Docs meeting. I'll send out that cancellation today. I didn't want to send it out prior to because it's going to look like I'm canceling the next upcoming meeting. So I'll try to be as clear as I can, and I'll send out something to SIG Docs as well. This is for the US or United States election on November 3rd to open up people's calendars as much as possible to assist with voting. Also, we
Thanks.
have, is that a solid thumbs up?
It'll help me vote.
Yep, go out and vote, everybody. If you can, if you're in the United States. Moving on to the quarterly Q4 planning days, just a reminder, we are planning as of right now to go over our quarterly planning on October 22nd. That is a Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. That was a tentative time proposed last week. We heard no objections. Now it's relatively formalized, I suppose. I'll have a document coming out shortly. I'll share it on Slack as well, and folks can review that. For people who are not aware of what happens at quarterly plannings, these are the long-term goals. These are the projects that aren't just something that can be taken on an individual level or on a daily level. It's kind of like what you'd want to accomplish over a quarter. So big changes. For example, I know one that Tim has been working on as well as myself is getting a release page updated for Kubernetes and improving the website's presence when it comes to Kubernetes releases. So things like that can't be accomplished by, some sort of weekend project and more the long-term objectives. And also it's also a time to reflect on what happened the previous quarter, what went well, what didn't go well. And the last item here, I actually talked about earlier, just saying that, YouTube's updated. I got to talk to Contribex about why YouTube videos aren't moving over, Zoom videos aren't moving over. Nothing major, just raising awareness. So that is the agenda, or all of the agenda items that we had. Is there anything else folks want to talk about? Hear nothing. We'll call it an early meeting. Appreciate everyone's time. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks, Jim. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.